If an inspection says a roof is near the end of its life, does that automatically mean replacement?
Today we're focusing on the parts of the home that protect everything inside: the roof, exterior, and attic.
The only data-driven way that I know to date a roof, the white pipe that sticks up out of the roof, the plumbing vent.
Plumbing vent.
There is a flashing boot that gets put on every single one of those. Every house, with the exception of maybe some very old houses, is going to have a plumbing vent that comes through the roof.
Thanks again for joining us here at Hoosier Homes and Hustles. I'm Jessica, aka Miss Indianapolis Real Estate, and you're listening to another episode in our series, Don't Panic, It's an Inspection.
And I'm Stacy. John Carrothers with Pillar to Post is back again to walk through some common Indiana issues and what buyers and sellers should really be paying attention to. So today we're focusing on the roof, John, and why don't you tell us just some common roofing issues you see in Indiana homes?
We see general wear. We see storm damage, whether that be hail or wind damage from shingles moving, things falling on the roofs. Wear and tear and flashings, lack of maintenance are pretty common.
Okay. And I've always wondered this. How do you estimate the remaining roof life?
So we have a little
magic
trick.
Formula.
It is. It's black magic. No, there are some tells and some cues. One of them is very useful, and it's actually the only data-driven way that I know to date a roof. The white pipe that sticks up out of the roof, the plumbing vent.
Plumbing vent.
There is a flashing boot that gets put on every single one of those. Every house, with the exception of maybe some very old houses, is going to have a plumbing vent that comes through the roof. And they have a manufacture date stamped in them. There's exceptions to this, but that can get us pretty close. If a flashing says it was manufactured in 2015, it was likely on that roof in 2015, 2016. Sometimes they sit on a shelf a little while, but just experience on what the average cycle of a roof looks like and what that piece of data says is the best piece of information that we have.
Cool. Well, I learned something today. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Tell us about attic ventilation and insulation mistakes and just things that buyers should know about that.
Attic ventilation is really important to your heating and cooling, the conditions within the attic as far as moisture and temperature go, and actually the life of the roof. An attic that gets too hot, the shingles aren't going to last as long. Heating and cooling isn't going to work as well as it should. You can have mold growth, moisture-related issues. So the most common things that we see is when someone tries to change a house and don't realize how they've affected the ventilation. Finished attics is a pretty common place there, and insulation blocking.
People
Those
that think
ducts
they're
and-
making it a little more energy efficient and then they've just taken away all the ventilation, right?
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
seen that quite a few times.
Yeah. Anytime you change something, there is going to be an opposite reaction, right? Basic physics here. But no, anytime you change something, there will be other consequences, and we just have to be cognizant of those when we're doing things.
On the topic of attic ventilation, I feel like I see this a lot, so I'm curious to see, since you're obviously in a lot more attics, on bathroom exhausts not being ventilated properly, which is then obviously just putting moisture into the attic, then creating biological growth / mold. Do you see that a lot as well, or is it just something I'm seeing a lot?
I see that a lot. I feel like that's common.
Yeah, we see it. We see it all the time. So a couple things to think about. We'll kind of back up on this a little bit, establish kind of a basic concept that will really make this easy. The available space, your total space in the attic, affects this significantly. We have a 1970s ranch home. Building standards at that time were to just put the exhaust into the attic. That's the way the house was built, and it was okay when it was done. But when we have a low roof line and a very small amount of air volume, the potential for moisture and the results of that, the biological growth, the molds, the water damage from it are higher, just because the amount of water per meter of air, space, whatever, is lower. So big open attics tend to suffer less from this, even with the same condition. So those tighter, smaller attics are more problematic, and it's much more important to get good ventilation and moving those ducts properly and getting them out. But it is an old house thing. Older homes just were built that way. We stopped doing that, and so it's one of those issues that as time goes, it will slowly fade away.
Okay. It's a great
Thank you.
answer. So, siding, flashing, and gutter problems, what are some things that maybe sellers overlook before listing their home and having this inspection?
It's usually a good idea to kind of go through the basics on the outside of the house when you're getting ready to list. A little bit of caulking, it can go a long way. Cleaning your gutters, the little things that you do, just think of it as putting your best foot forward. All the maintenance things that you've kind of put off or forgot about, it's probably a good time to do it before the house goes on the market.
Yep, completely agree. So I'll go there. We're going to talk about what sellers should do before listing. If you have any concerns about your roof, I would say get a roofing company out and get an inspection before listing. There are many roofing companies that will come out the next day and do an inspection for free and let you know if there's any issues that maybe you could get fixed before listing with your insurance and not even have to, pay for a new roof out of pocket or anything like that. So I'd say if you have any concerns, if there was a hailstorm in your area in the last few years, which we're in Indiana, those are pretty common. So I would say that. And then I would also say cleaning the gutters. That's an easy thing to do. And it's just going to show that you've been maintaining your home and hopefully cause the buyers to be more confident that the home is well maintained.
The thing that I get
Jessica?
asked a lot is what should get caulk and what shouldn't. The easiest way to think about that one is if it has caulk on it now, it should have it should be caulked. If it doesn't, then it doesn't need it.
Right. Well, for buyers, they should know obviously anything that's coming up in inspection related to any of these items, then we'll definitely be wanting to get quotes on them to see what's truly an issue. Again, if the seller didn't do a lot of these repairs beforehand, kind of like how Stacy and John have just kind of mentioned, then it makes sense to go ahead and have those quotes done for yourself. And not only to figure out what it might cost to fix some of this stuff, but also from a maintenance standpoint as well. Because I think some of this stuff is just going to be great for you to learn as a home buyer to how to properly maintain that home going forward. All right, so John, it's time for rapid fire questions. What's the most overlooked exterior issue?
Caulking and cleaning gutters.
Fair enough. The biggest roofing myth buyers believe.
If there's hail damage, the seller's insurance is going to pay for a new roof.
Okay. I would have said maybe if it's a brand new roof, it must be okay. But
That's a good one, too.
put it
a good
on?
one,
Did they
too.
put it on right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, last one. Easy seller fix that makes inspectors happy.
Doing the simple maintenance stuff, kind of shows some effort put forth into normal maintenance. Just tidying up the simple things.
Well, thank you so much for that, John. Appreciate you being with us again today.
Thanks for having me.
The outside of the home plays a huge role in protecting everything inside, and small issues can turn into big ones if they're ignored.
If this episode was helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Hoosier Homes and Hustle so you don't miss what's coming next. You can find all of our contact information in the show notes.
Let's hustle smarter
together.